great privilege to introduce Miss Claire Foy. Claire has become very actively involved with UNICEF over the past year, following a trip to Lesotho to see our work firsthand. We look forward to working with Claire in the future and as many years to come. We're honored to have the support of such a well-established and well-loved actress who I'm sure many of you know from her role as the Queen in the first 2 series of The Crown and other many numerous roles in TV, film, and on stage. Welcome, Claire. May I pass the floor to you?
Thank you so much for having me. Can I just say it's so inspiring and encouraging hearing you all talk, and it's an honour to be joining you today. Yeah, just to give you a bit of background, I did my first trip, as you just said, in Lesotho in Africa with UNICEF in February of this year, just as the pandemic was becoming a reality. And 2 of my trips while I was out there, one was to a local school and another was to a young mothers group. And in light of this conversation, they both were incredibly important to me. At the school, I saw kind of firsthand how the initiatives that UNICEF set up on the ground, like the WASH campaign, and the importance of education and support for girls, around menstruation, was so important to the children at that school. A lot of the kids there would walk 2 hours to and from school every single day, purely for the privilege of being educated, but also for having a hot meal. And also what I thought was incredibly interesting was the fact that what they learned at school, they were taking back to their community. So the information that they got from the initiatives from UNICEF about, water, sanitation, hygiene, and anything to do with the girls' menstruation, they took back to their community and they were able to educate their parents and the wider community, and that information was able to benefit that community in some way. The other group that I saw, which is so inspiring and very emotional for me, was a group of young mothers who either at the time they found out they were pregnant or at the time I was talking to them were school age, and obviously for whatever reason they no longer attended school because they were now a mother. And I found that an extraordinary outreach for these young women who were educated not just about how to further their lives for themselves, their children, their communities, with funding to set up small businesses, but also about mental health, about how much they'd experienced depression and various different mental health issues as a result of becoming pregnant so young and having to leave education. And what these girls communicated was, to me, was being out of education was the single most important thing that had affected them. The fact that they would watch their friends go to school and they were not included, and knowing that education meant investment in their lives and investment in their future, and they felt that that hadn't been received, they hadn't received that, but by this outreach from UNICEF they felt like they'd been included back into the global community, I suppose. On a personal level, I have a daughter who is school age, and I saw firsthand the impact that not going to school had on her. That is, with all the privilege and opportunity that I experience, and I am allowed to choose her education, and all I could think about was those girls who walked 2 hours to go to school, and that has been in my mind through the whole pandemic. So I want to use this opportunity to set out a call of action to all governments and partners to form a global community, really, to take away any barriers there may be for girls returning to school, and to use this as an opportunity to commit to and invest in and champion girls' education. I'm so honoured to be taking part in this, I really am. So I've got to pose a question to the panel. I think that's my job. And from what I've learned on my trip, I really would be interested to see how people feel they can incentivise in a community girls going back to school. What can be set up at a community level which can encourage girls and adolescent girls to go back to school? Everyone's spoken about, adolescent marriage and young pregnancy and things like that. What are the things that people think could be done at a community level that we could all use to help to encourage girls to go back to school?
Thank you so much, Claire, for those reflections. Thank you very much for all those very important insights, and also for the question. I'm going to turn to the panel. Maybe